Here we go. Welcome to Skip versus Ernestine. Yep, she's back by even more popular demand. She's the star of the internet. So now
I am back.
I am the third biggest star in my household because our little, how old is she? Eight now? 8-year-old Maltese Hazel. She is the star of the house. She runs this household.
She does.
You are the second biggest star, and
he's
I
the bottom
bring
of the
up
totem
the rear.
pole. He's the rear, the papoose.
Yeah.
Or the caboose.
Caboose. There you go. You could do either one. I'll be the papoose.
Papoose and caboose.
Yeah. All right. So in our maiden voyage last week together, I don't know how this came up. We just free associate the way we do around the house every day.
Out.
We somehow landed on Taylor Swift.
Yes, we did.
And we both got Swift kicks in the butt from the internet for the opinions that we declared just off the cuff on live internet, right?
Correct.
Because while I said, I was just being honest, beauty in the eye of the beholder, she's not hot to me. I don't get that part.
But that's your opinion.
That's my opinion. And you said you don't love her music.
I don't really I bought her first album.
You did? I didn't even know that. Oh. Well, that qualifies you a little bit.
I would not go out of my way to go see her.
And you said that you're a huge fan of Bonnie Raitt, and she has acknowledged that was a sort of musical role model for her. Yeah. Okay?
But I think she's a nice person. I don't know her personally, but I'm sure she does great things for girls who admire her.
A very weird phenomenon ensued in our house because for the first time in 20 years, you actually shared the hot seat with me.
Yeah,
for 20 years, you have defended me on the hot seat.
Correct.
Fiercely, loyally defended me.
Right.
Like to the death. Like you'll fight literally for me.
Well, I don't know
all of a sudden,
you'll fight, but yes.
You're on the hot seat with me because you're getting fallout that I usually get, even though my fallout was way worse than yours because some of the lines about me.
Yours was bad.
I uttered a disparaging remark about Taylor Swift's looks.
Yeah.
And I had a brutal declaration, a scathing opinion about Taylor Swift. Well, no, it's just
crazy.
My opinion.
It's your opinion.
So all week long in this household, my wife kept saying to me, well, I meant this, and I believe what I said, but you kept defending yourself, and I said, you don't need to defend yourself, just let it go.
Well,
you said what you said.
I don't hate her. I have nothing against her. I never met her. She has great music. It's not my thing, but that doesn't mean that, it's not as though I said they should take her and put her on an iceberg somewhere and ship her out to, the middle of Alaska.
But you kept trying to justify your opinion to me, and I kept saying, no, I don't need to hear you justify because you're good. You said what you believe, and you've said that to me off camera many times before.
Yeah.
You just don't love her music.
No.
Okay? So what's the problem?
There's no problem, but as a matter of fact, when I read the New York Post last week.
And by the way, this got picked up.
Yeah, it got picked up everywhere, even the Daily Mail in London.
Okay, so it was the New York Post. It was Parade Magazine, Us Magazine, Men's Journal, MSN,
everywhere. But
Newsweek and Yahoo picked it up. Okay.
But what was funny, the New York Post ran a piece that said a lot of couples are having problems because the husbands are divorcing the wives because the wives have become addicted to Taylor Swift, and they're hopping around the country going to see her, and the husband can't take it anymore.
Are disrespectful within their household of Taylor Swift in ways that the obsessed wife
is taking offense and just saying, I can't take it, I need to go
and so
be on the road.
They are actually breaking up marriages over Taylor Swift. Well, I hope our marriage doesn't come to that.
We both are not big Swifties, but it's okay.
So the point is, if we're going to do this fairly regularly, you have to adopt the stance that I don't know how, thank you God, I just adopted since I was in high school when I'm writing columns for my high school newspaper, slamming the coach I played for on the baseball team.
Right.
You just have to live with it if you believe what you write, say, think.
It was just crazy. I didn't think anyone would really care. And when that evening I started to receive notes from friends saying, "Did you see that this was picked up about what you and Skip said?" It was just craziness
Okay.
because I'm sure a lot of people don't really love her music, but maybe people are afraid to say that because they don't want to be the minority as opposed to the majority.
Okay. So are you doing better after a week of
I'm doing
this
great. I don't
with
care. I think she's a great person. I'm sure she does great things for women and girls around the country and world, but I personally am not going to go buy her CD.
okay, but you did buy her first
I
one, and
did
I
buy
don't
her,
know
yeah, it was
what
the first
possessed you
one.
to buy the first one.
Because
Just
I
to
think I liked her first
sample,
song. Yeah,
just
I
to
liked her
see.
first song, but
Okay.
then as it went on, I just kind of moved away from liking her that much.
Okay. So this happened to me in the throes of all this. I've told you that since I went on Twitter in 2009, I
Yeah,
believe, and I tried it for maybe a year or
yeah.
so. I read my
I
responses on Twitter,
remember.
my ads, my
I
mentions. I
remember that.
read them because they actually helped me as I was sort of the executive producer. I put the rundown together every day for First Take.
Right.
This is pre Stephen A. He didn't come until 2011.
Yeah.
So we're just having a rotation of guest debaters.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the topics together, and it actually helped me to get up early in the morning on the East Coast and read what people were saying because I thought it would sort of,
Feedback was going to
yeah,
help
and
you.
it would actually direct my, not my opinion, but my belief in what was hot. I could see what was hot. Hazel, I don't know what you're doing.
But then
She's,
soon after that, you learned that was the wrong thing to
well,
do.
well, after a while,
Right. Because it was not
what started
helping, it was
happening was,
hindering.
yeah, I would read one comment early in the morning about your hair
They
looked
don't
like
like your
crap
hair. You
yesterday.
look
And I would start thinking, well, do I
pale.
need a haircut
Mm.
or am I not drying it correctly or should I change my hairstyle? And it would eat at my psyche all day long and actually affect me. And it's one person, man or woman, who knows where they live, who knows what their circumstances are. And they're just packing away. And I'm letting one person, I used to say it's some guy in his parents' basement in Des Moines, I let him infiltrate my psyche and actually change the way I was thinking about myself, let him poke a hole in my self faith for the day.
But that
Really,
that happened to me when I wrote my book.
she did
And
write a
then
book
when
called
I wrote the book
Balls.
Balls
What's the
and
subtitle?
How
It's
to Keep Your Relationship Alive When You Live with a Sports Obsessed Guy.
me.
And when I started my Instagram, which I'm not a big social media person, and I made the mistake of reading comments after I did a couple of TV shows to promote it, people were saying horrible things. Eat a sandwich. Don't you ever eat? You're so thin. I mean, it's just, why do you have to say horrible things? What I said about Taylor Swift is not a horrible thing. I said, I'm just not into her music. I didn't say, oh, she's, too skinny, she's too fat, she's whatever. I just said, I'm not a big fan of her music. But people have the right, they think, to say, you should get a nose job. You're too skinny. You're too ugly. You're whatever. And I don't get it. So I don't read anything
Okay.
anymore.
So I made a hard and fast business decision in maybe 2010. I said, I'm out. I'm never going to read it again. I don't follow anybody because I don't, I always like to say, I'm a leader, not a follower. I'd
Yeah.
like to be a tone setter, not a reactor. I'm a pre-actor. So with all my opinions, they're completely, totally, utterly mine. And I
Yes.
form them sometimes sitting next to you watching games at night. And I sleep on them and then I unleash them. And it's not that I'm reacting and I think, oh, that was a good opinion. Maybe I can I can weave that into
Or
mine. I don't do that.
shock jock
Okay.
stuff.
There's a lot of shock jocks and a lot of people who don't believe what they say. And I think you will attest every word I utter,
No,
I
it's the
believe
truth.
with
Whether you
all my
believe
heart
it,
and
yeah,
soul, whether
yeah.
it's right or
Whether it's
wrong,
right or
whether you
wrong,
agree or
you
not.
could be a
It's,
nut and believe what you
yeah,
want, but it's the
it's not
truth of what
shock
you
jockey.
believe. No,
I'm not
you don't
trying
play for
to,
an
I'm
audience.
not clickbaiting. I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of my soul exactly what I
Yeah, you believe
believe.
it. So
And when you said what you said about Taylor Swift, it's not a monumental opinion that's going to change life.
she
It's
could
just
care
your opinion.
less.
But the Swifties are going to rise up and defend her And again, we were just going back and forth in husband-wife talk because you constantly, when we're watching games, one of your appeals to the game, which doesn't bother me one bit because I'm
The
not a
cute guys. I
jealous
pick out the
person.
cute
She picks
guys.
out the cute
Yeah.
guys. And she picks out the guys, especially watching basketball, which is NBA basketball is
Right.
her favorite sport,
Yeah.
because they're wearing tank tops and shorts. And she
They have good
says,
bodies.
he's got a great body.
Right.
He's got a great body. LeBron, you say, has a great body.
Great body.
Physique.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me a bit because I'll buy that.
Well,
And
it's a fact.
and
You
I'm
look
not
at them.
threatened by it because you can attest, I work really
You do. You
like
work hard at
crazy
keeping your
on my
body whatever the
And
way you
so
want it.
I'm pleased with how I look because I
Right.
paid the price to look this way, not maybe the way LeBron pays, but in my way, day after
But
day
that's
after
your
day,
regimen,
that's the
and
way
that's
I pay
your
my
way
price.
you live your life.
And so I'm proud of the way I look, which makes me unthreatened by you saying that so-and-so is a hot guy.
Yeah.
And so I was just making the point, it's always beauty in the eye of the beholder because one man's pleasure is another man's pain. It's like when I look at Taylor Swift, and I don't want to delve into this again, I
That's
just
not
don't
your
see hot.
thing.
It's
So,
not
but
my
that's not
cup
your.
of tea.
But
It's
so
or
what?
Gatorade, if you will.
It doesn't mean she's
not my style. Okay,
It's not your thing.
okay, but I don't hate her. I don't have anything personal against
She does
her.
great things. Girls look
And-
up to her. She has a great following.
and
They believe in her, and she seems to
we-
be very genuine. But
we go out to
again,
Lil Wayne's house occasionally on Saturdays and have long talks. And he was the one who brought up to us, it's been within the last year, that he was at a concert venue in her early days.
yeah, yeah,
And I think it was in New Orleans, I want to say.
maybe, yeah.
And that he was talking to either the director of the arena or a concert promoter who was doing both concerts because he was going to play the next
Yeah.
night. And he said, oh, this Taylor Swift is going to be a force
Yeah.
because she did a meet and greet. Was it before or after? I think it was before.
I think it was before, yeah.
Where hundreds of people came to the meet and greet and obviously paid
Mm-hmm.
a bit more to do so. And she shook every hand and spoke personally to every person in the meet and greet group.
Yeah.
Like, where are you from?
Yeah.
What do you do?
She showed she
Yeah.
cared.
She showed she cared. Okay, so that's great. And that's in large part why she's great. I don't get the music either, but God bless her because
It's her
she
style.
is it, man.
Yeah.
And everything she touches turns to gold. See Travis Kelce and that podcast. See now Jason Kelce's wife has started a podcast. Way to go. And it rocketed to the top.
It beat Joe Rogan.
Yeah, okay, way to go. We'll see if that lasts,
Yeah.
but congratulations.
going
That's
on.
the Taylor Swift effect. Okay, so now back to comments read that I don't read anymore, but I made a near fatal
You
mistake.
made the mistake. I
So-
don't even read them.
After we did our episode last week, a few days passed, and I thought, I wonder how it's doing on YouTube. Post on our YouTube channel, and the analytics are right there in
Right.
black and white. You know, it just stares you right in the face. It's showing you how many people actually watched or listened for how long. And we were pleased to find that people were partaking of this much longer than they were of my personal solo videos that I do
They
on
didn't hate us
sports.
because of what we said about Taylor
Well,
Swift.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
Some probably
maybe they
did.
did
but,
hate us.
But
I don't know.
whatever. But the point was, I'm scrolling down the analytics, and I didn't realize that if I scrolled too far, I went into the comments.
Yeah.
And they're right there in black and white, staring you, slapping you in the face. And I accidentally read the first comment,
A mistake. Big mistake.
which was a shot at Hazel,
Hazel
who's now
got
sleeping in my
Hazel got
hands.
the brunt of it.
Hazel, you got to wake up because
She only has one feather because the other feather fell off.
I'm defending you.
Yeah, her feather fell off yesterday.
I took it off, but that's a
Yeah,
whole
he
nother
told me
story.
that.
I don't
You
like
told
the
me it
feathers.
fell off.
I did, but I kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
I didn't take it off.
Note
I
to
wish
self,
I would have.
extra feathers
No,
next
she
week.
doesn't like her feathers either.
She
and
does. She loves her
scraped
feathers.
It off in the carpet.
Oh, come on. Whatever.
She does not love
Anyway,
the feathers.
Hazel took the hit from the
She's
comment.
kind of a boy-girl dog.
No, she's not. She's a
She
girl
was raised
dog.
to be a boy.
No,
by
she's
her
a girl.
dad.
You keep trying to
Does she
make her a
not?
boy.
When she pees,
You,
what happens?
yeah, she lifts her leg
She
because you
lifts her
taught her
leg
how
to
to
pee.
pee.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I can't
I'm
teach a
sure
dog
you
how to
took her
pee.
in
You
the
can teach
bathroom and
dogs a lot
showed
of
her.
things.
Yeah, I think
I did not.
you could teach her to roll over and you could teach her to pee. So
When
she
we
lifts
take
her
her
leg when
out,
she
she
pees.
lifts her legs to
Yeah,
pee, or one
yeah.
leg or the other, not both at the same
No,
time,
that would be amazing.
because
She
she's sort of she's a tomboy, if we can go there. Okay?
only when you have her with
So
you.
here's the point. I read this comment,
Hazel
and
took the hit.
I'm obviously not going to give the commenter the credit by
No,
naming the commenter. I don't even know if it was a
no.
he or she. I think it was a he, whatever. And it said that I call her my daughter Hazel, the love of my life, second to Ernestine, but
Thank
she
you.
thinks it's
Right.
borders
At
on
times
first.
I'm on the second rung, but it's okay.
Okay. It said, here's Skip with his pathetic rat dog, Hazel. His pathetic rat dog? Okay, this is beauty in the eye of the beholder. I think she's a very pretty dog.
She's
Okay.
so
Yeah,
pretty.
she thinks she's
She's got like
very
a porcelain
photogenic. If
little
you've seen the
face. She's
pictures
got,
that we've
she's
posted on
beautiful.
Instagram or wherever,
She's beautiful.
yeah, she really is blessed with beauty that other Malteses don't have.
She has like a little doll face.
Yeah, she has a doll face, and
she's very sweet
I
at
like.
times. She can be a
we have her
nightmare,
hair
but
cut shorter, so
yeah,
it shows.
she gets a puppy cut.
She gets a puppy cut. She's 8 years old. She still
She's
gets
still
a
a
puppy
puppy.
cut. But the point is, my rat dog, I was furious about it.
If they would have called me Rat Face, you wouldn't have been as upset.
No, I wouldn't have.
You would have.
Thank you.
You would have been
Touche.
like, "So what?
So
Don't worry
what?
about it.
I'll
Oh, don't
forget
read
about
your
it."
comments." But now this struck home because it's her.
All day yesterday,
His daughter.
I kept thinking, rat dog? What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
You
rat
brought
dog?
that up to me
I
like
did.
10 times.
Rat
Every
dog?
time you came in,
What
I'm
are
sitting
you
at my
talking
desk.
about?
Do you believe they called her a rat dog? I'm like, give it up.
Rat dog? Hazel? She's not a rat dog.
She's not a rat dog. She said, I'm not a rat dog. I'm a Maltese.
Okay, she's a Maltese. So, lesson learned.
Don't
no
read
more
comments.
What does it matter?
Even
Okay,
if she
you can
was a
have
rat dog,
I don't
everybody
even
could
care.
have,
I should just
you know.
knocking my
So
microphone out of
what?
the way. Hazel,
Every dog is beautiful. Every animal is beautiful.
you got to calm down.
They're innocent and they don't know anything.
All right. Okay. So now to my favorite Ernestine defends Skip story.
This is where I
This
gain
was
points.
back in my earlier days at ESPN when I lived in Bristol. We weren't married yet. She was a PR executive in New York City. So I came back on the weekends from Bristol. It's about 2 hours if you're lucky driving. And I would come back and be with Ernestine. I would get home at like
Friday, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
3 to 4 o'clock, depending on snow or traffic.
Right, and then leave on Sunday around. Well,
4
you
or
started at
5,
6, but then you started to
6.
leave earlier because the games, and I would watch the games, and you would say I would jinx the game, so
That
then
is
you started
true.
leaving at 1. So that was a whole different.
Those were
That's
the
another
days.
story. Yeah.
So the point was that I came home on let's call it a Friday,
It was
but
a
I
Friday.
think it was a Saturday.
It was a
Because
Friday.
I remember the
It was a
Sixers
Friday
were
because
playing
the
a
city was
playoff game, but
packed.
this is way back. Sixers weren't very good at this point. But the point is, I got my hair cut in this building. It was like on the 7th floor of this building. So she came later to meet me because you were somewhere else, and I was going to get my hair cut up on the 7th floor, and she was going to wait for me on the ground floor, and then we would walk back to our
to the apartment.
place. And when she came in on the ground floor, there was a security guard, but then there was another, maybe a guard
Guy
or
that
somebody.
it was the guy who worked up in the hair place came down to take a
Oh,
break, and
okay.
the security guard was there,
So-
and I was
she
just
just
waiting.
happens to overhear
I
this
was waiting, yeah,
conversation.
and then I heard the guy that worked at your hair place said to the security guard, "Hey, do you know who's upstairs?" And he said, "No, who?" And he said, "Skip Bayless." He goes, "Oh, Skip Bayless, I can't stand him." But I heard it.
But
and
didn't the guy say from upstairs
he's
that
an idiot.
he's an idiot or
Yeah,
an asshole
yeah,
or
yeah,
something?
he's an
It
idiot
was-
or an
yeah,
asshole.
Okay.
And I overheard it because I'm standing there by myself just waiting for you. And then I was really
Okay,
offended.
Just so you know, hell hath no fury like her scorned over
Well,
me.
it's
Thank
just
you
not
for
right. So
And-
I turned around and I said to the guy, "Excuse me, do you know Skip Bayless?" And he said, "No, I don't know him." I said, "Then why are you talking about him? You don't even know who he is. Why would you say such horrible things? Would you like him to say things about you?" And he said, "What?" I said to him, "Just stop it." I said, "Just don't even do that anymore." And I
And
walked away. And then just as I was walking away, you came
I
down
came down the
from the
elevator.
elevator, and the two guys were standing there, and you said to me, "What's the matter?" And I
No, when
said,
I walked past the two guys, they're looking at me with saucer eyes like, uh-oh.
well, and then I said to you, I just had to defend you because these two guys, I overheard them talking. You said, "What do you want me to do? Fight these guys now? Why would you even start in with them?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to defend you." And then I think you and I had to fight because I defended you.
Okay, well, we're walking back. We got in a fight
Right.
because I said, you don't need to do that because you're going to provoke one of those
Right.
guys.
But
And
I'm
then
not
I'm
going to
going to have
listen
to
to
defend your
somebody.
honor. And I don't want to fight. I used to fight all the time when I was a
I'm not
kid.
going to ask you to fight
But
these guys.
okay,
I would
but
fight
if
them.
if one thing led to another in the
I'll
lobby
take
of the
care of
hotel,
it.
I can't fight anybody because I'm a public
I'll
figure and I
fight
can't
them.
win.
Oh,
Even if I won
please.
the fight,
Oh,
I would
please.
lose because I'd get sued
I'm a New Yorker. I can take
or
care of
jailed.
it.
Yeah.
I could
Okay.
take them out. It's okay.
Okay, I believe you could have
I
taken them
would.
out if
I
it had come
would.
to that, but it's not worth it because I don't really care what they think of me.
Yeah, but it's not nice to hear
Okay,
that.
but isn't any publicity good publicity? Don't you want people to talk about you even
Not
if
in a
they
well,
don't like you?
not in that sense. I mean, we go back to the Taylor Swift thing. I just didn't say I don't like her as a person. I didn't say she's an idiot. I just said I'm not really into her music. You said you're not really into her looks, but I didn't say what they said about
Okay,
you is
all
something
right.
different.
Okay. All right. So it's close to Christmas time and it's time for my annual
God.
dilemma.
Here we go. Here we
And
go.
we do fight about this every year
Every
because
year.
I
This
can't
is the
win
same
this one.
question that he posed to me 2 days ago.
What do
So,
you
what
want
do you
for
want
Christmas?
for Christmas?
Okay, so
And
quick story.
yeah.
Hazel, you're falling. Quick story. Last year,
every year it's the same
okay,
exact
every year
thing.
it's the same thing because for me, I don't want to waste a bunch of money buying you something that will just go in your
But you
closet
know me
forever
by
and
now.
ever.
You know me by now.
I
You
know
know
you,
what
but
I like, what I wear, what
okay,
I
and I can
eat.
be pretty good at that, but I can't be 100% sure if I spend a lot of money by my standards that you will like what I buy. So we have
Well, you have to think
often,
about
for
it.
birthdays and Christmas, I have said maybe the weekend before,
The worst is
let's
let's
go
go
shopping.
shopping.
Let's go
It's
shopping.
so, to me, I'm
Okay.
sorry,
All
it's
right.
supposed to be a
But if
surprise.
we go out to the shoe store, to
Yeah.
Nordstrom shoe
Right,
department,
right.
which you like,
I do. I love
okay,
Nordstrom.
we can say, hey, look, there's a pair of great
Right, but then I'm going to
whatevers.
wrap it up myself, and then at Christmas morning, I'm going to open up the box and go, "Oh, look what Skip got me." When
Yeah, but you
I
love
knew what
it
it was.
and you wanted it
I'd rather
because
have
I
you.
saw your eyes light up
Yeah,
when
but do
you
you
looked at it, right?
do you remember
Okay.
last year?
Okay, I do remember last
That
year
was a
because it was
nightmare.
my worst
That
nightmare
was a
because I can
nightmare.
tell you what happened. It was a Saturday night and Christmas was on, was it Sunday or
Sunday.
Monday?
It was new. You went Christmas Eve.
I think I did go
You
Christmas
did
Eve. All
because
I
stores
remember
were
is
closing
because
at like
everything in my life,
9:30.
okay, everything I
Oh,
remember in
it's
my life is
terrible.
tied to a game. And
That's
I
true.
was watching the Lakers beat my Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma
Yeah.
City, which they did regularly last year. They're really good
Back
against
to the originally
Thunder.
scheduled
But the point
programming.
was
Okay.
I waited until the game ended.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're in LA, so it's going to end
Well,
a
we
little
had a
earlier.
fight before that because you said to me,
Oh, we were
"What
walking.
do you want for Christmas?" And I said, "Well, why do you keep asking?
Okay,
Why
well,
don't
we
you just
went
buy
on,
me
it
something?"
was Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And we always take Hazel to walk in the mall.
Right.
She's a psycho dog. Listen, she is fierce.
Oh,
She
she's
will
a
rip
nut.
your leg off
Nut job, but
unless you're
whatever.
her or me.
We love her.
We love her and she will protect us with her life. But if we take her outside, she wants to kill every dog, no matter how big, and every human other than us or your sister Joyce.
Right. Yeah, she loves Joyce.
But the point was, we're taking her to the mall because at the mall, she'll walk on the leash and it's not her turf.
Right. So she's
she'll
a little scared. She won't be
but
that.
she won't be scared, but she'll just be sort of respectful, like, I'm not going to fight here unless you approach me.
Yeah.
When people come to approach for selfies.
Anyway, we go to the
she
mall
goes
on
crazy.
that
But
Saturday.
we're on the way to the mall and we get to the steps of the mall. We live close. We can walk. And we're on the steps going up. And I said, hey, how about if today we buy your Christmas
Right.
present? And you're like, what? You don't have a Christmas present yet?
Well, it's
And-
only Christmas Eve day.
Okay,
I mean,
but
you
I
would buy somebody a gift by
I
then,
thought we're
unless you're
right-
going to go to Rite Aid
What
and buy
store
them
is
like
on the
a
left at the
package
top of the
mints
stairs?
or
What
something.
store is on the left when you go up the stairs?
Nordstrom.
Nordstrom. We can just go right in Nordstrom and buy some
Yeah,
shoes.
but it wasn't that.
or a
It was the
bag,
idea
or-
that you did not buy me a
I
gift. I had
didn't.
like 12 gifts. I've been buying
Okay.
gifts, along the way, a little
She
something
buys me
here, a
way
little
too many
something
gifts, and
there.
I tell her I
But
don't need
but it's
anything.
Christmas, so you
Okay, but
have to
I
put
don't need
something under a
anything.
tree.
We always buy each other cards, and I do
Yeah, we buy
give
each
it
other cards,
cards,
and we
and we
like the card
personalize
thing, like
them. Yeah.
6 or 7 cards a piece.
Yeah.
But the gift, now you don't. You're telling me you don't even have a gift
Okay,
for me, and it's
so
Christmas
so
Eve.
we fight all through the Hazel
Oh, it was
walk through the
bad.
mall,
It
and
was
we didn't
bad.
speak for the next like hour and a
Right.
half. And she always gets a pretzel
Yeah.
from, is it
We
Andy
both get
Ann's?
Auntie Anne's
Yeah,
pretzels, and
okay,
we
all
sit
right.
there. No
Okay, we
salt, no
sit.
butter
Yeah,
on the
okay,
pretzel, and
all
we
right.
sit there and we eat the pretzel. So
Okay,
we
this
didn't
is
speak.
speechless
Yeah, it was
for the
terrible.
next hour and a half. So I go home and I'm going to watch the Laker game. I think it tipped at
Meanwhile, I
like
called my
4:30.
sister and I said, "Do you believe he hasn't bought me a gift?"
Yeah.
And Joyce
Your sister
said,
gets the brunt of
"Yeah." And
every
Joyce said,
fight.
"Oh, but he's so busy working and this." I said, "I
Thank you,
don't care. How
Joyce.
would you like
I
it?"
was.
And she said, "Oh, don't give him a hard
Okay,
time."
so when the
I'm
Lakers
sorry.
finished beating my Thunder at Thunder, I just said, okay,
It was
here
nine
I go.
o'clock.
No, it
It
wasn't
was
9
about.
o'clock. It was
It was
earlier.
close to
It
9
was
because
7
the
or 8
stores.
o'clock. It's
No,
dark.
it was dark. And
Okay,
then all of a sudden, all I know is that you put
I'm
your
gone.
jacket on.
Yeah, I just threw
And I
some
said to him, "Where are you
clothes on.
going? You can't really be walking around outside. It's not that safe to walk to the mall at night."
Yeah,
And you said, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone." And you walked out. And then I
off I
called my
went.
sister again. I said, "Oh my God, he just left." And she's like,
I
"Don't worry."
stormed to the mall. I walked up those steps. I had on a baseball cap and it was dark and I had my sunglasses on so I wouldn't get recognized so that I wouldn't have to stop because I was on a mission.
Yeah.
And
You had to get back.
I,
Was it halftime? I don't remember.
no, it's
Oh, I
over. The
thought
game's
maybe you were
over.
running
And
out to halftime so you could
I
make it
watched,
back
I
in
said I
15
finished.
minutes.
So I'm storming down the concourse of the mall. And I remembered that morning we passed a dress shop on the right and it kind of caught my eye. There was this dress.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I'll try that. I just blow in the front door of the store. The guy looks up. He knows who I am. He says, "Oh, welcome to our
Give
store."
me anything.
Yeah,
She's
no,
small.
no, I said,
She
that
needs a
dress in the
sandwich.
window,
She needs to
do
eat
you
a
have that in
sandwich.
an extra small? Because she needs to eat a sandwich. I
Right,
told him
right,
that. She
right.
needs
She's
to eat a
skinny.
sandwich.
Needs
She's
to eat a
too skinny.
sandwich.
And he says, "I don't have it in the store, but we have a storage within the mall.
Yeah.
And if you'll give me maybe 15 or 20 minutes, I can go get it
I
for you."
remember this
And I said,
story.
"Done." And I paid for it.
Right.
And
Wrap it up.
I was lost. I don't usually waste time in my life. And I had to waste 15 to
15
20
minutes.
minutes of my
God,
life. And I just
forget
had
it.
to go for a walk around the mall. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just killed time. I looked at my phone. I read the Laker box
Poor
score.
Skip.
You know,
Poor
yeah,
Skip.
it was terrible. And then I go
Terrible.
back and I
Terrible.
think they wrapped it for me. I
They
believe
put it in a box and they wrapped
they
it.
wrapped it
They
for me
wrapped it
at
because
this
they felt that
store.
you were
And they were
pathetic,
they
probably.
treated me like royalty. And I'm clutching my box with this dress, and I go home and I'm I'm relieved because I'm off the hook for
Off
Christmas
the hook for
morning,
Christmas
right?
morning. But
And
the damage was done already because I knew you hadn't bought me a
okay,
gift. So when you went
but
out,
this
I
is
knew
the
you were probably
age-old
looking for
dilemma
something
because now
to
I'm
find on
giving
the
you a
street to give
dress,
me.
and I forget how much I paid for it, but
I don't know.
to
I
me it
didn't
was a
return
lot.
it.
You didn't return it,
No.
and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's still hanging unworn in her
It's a
closet.
gold. Oh my God.
It's hanging unworn.
It's a
It
gold
has never
lame.
seen the
If I
light
get
of
invited,
day.
yeah, I could go to the Oscars and I would have a dress. It's a gold lame dress. I mean, it's
Wear it.
absolutely beautiful.
Wear it to
What
the
am I going to?
mall.
I'm going to wear it to the
Yeah,
mall to
wear it to the
Auntie
mall to
Anne's.
Auntie Anne's. Why not? Well, let's
Auntie
get
Anne's
some use
pretzel
out of it.
store. I'm going to wear my gold lame,
Okay, so
beautiful
tonight
dress to
you
the
should
mall.
go put it on, and I'm going to take a picture, and we're going to post it on Instagram
Get
just so I
out.
can say we got some use
Right.
out of this dress because that was a fail for me, an epic fail. I
Well,
got you a
it's not as though
surprise
we
gift.
go to these
You were like,
black
"Oh,
tie
a dress."
event. I'm not going to the
Well,
Oscars
I
and the
tried.
the
Okay, so
Golden Globes and
okay, but I swung and I missed.
right.
And it was the thought, as my mother always said, that counted,
But
right? The thought that
I
counted.
like jewelry. I like
Okay.
whatever handbags,
Okay,
whatever. But I do like the dress. I'm hoping
You
that
do?
somehow, yeah,
I
it's
didn't think you
beautiful.
liked
No,
it.
I love it. It's beautiful.
well, I got
I'm
that
hoping
going for
somebody
me.
invites us to the Oscars.
Okay. Well, maybe
Maybe
you'll win an Oscar for this podcast. I don't know. So, speaking of Oscars or Golden Globes,
okay.
so the Golden Globe nominations came out for, we focused on this category.
Yeah.
It's best performance by a male actor in a TV series drama, not comedy, drama,
Yeah.
Golden Globes. We have become obsessed. We talked last week about Lioness, and we are definitely obsessed with Lioness, but even more so, We have decided this is the best show on television. This is borderline. We haven't finished because the 2 final episodes drop this week on Thursday night,
tomorrow.
depending on when you're consuming this. It's for us, we're taping on Wednesday, so
Yeah.
it would be Thursday night. The final 2 episodes of season 1 drop, and I think
Can't
there's
wait.
already a season 2
Yeah,
in the works.
I read it. They picked it up.
The show is called Jackal, as in Day of the Jackal. It was twice made into a movie. I think it was 73.
Oh, 71 or 73.
73 and 85.
Bruce
And
Willis was
it's
the
an
other one.
assassin character based on an attempted assassination of Charles de Gaulle, who was the, what do you call him, president of France? Is he president or prime minister? Whatever.
Prime minister.
Whatever. But Charles de Gaulle ran France, and there was a failed assassination attempt. And the book was written about the assassin called the Jackal. Another movie was made starring Bruce Willis as the Jackal in like 85-ish.
Yeah.
And now comes a series that's very different than those 2 movies.
It shouldn't even be called Jackal.
But Eddie Redmayne
He's
plays
amazing.
the Jackal, and he is all-time creepy, genius assassin.
Yeah, he is.
Sniper. But he is a creepy genius, as meticulous as it comes. And
it's kind of like Jason Bourne meets Mission Impossible, because they take you all over the world. Every location, exotic location in the world.
And Eddie Redmayne is nominated alongside our friend Billy Bob Thornton for Landman. We talked about Landman last week.
Amazing as
Gary
well.
Oldman, who we like in Slow Horses. It was too slow for us, and we tried it, and we failed. And we have friends who just swear by it,
watch
right?
Slow Horses, yeah.
Hazel is completely asleep in my lap.
She's bored.
Unbelievable. I guess she's bored to tears.
Yep.
Jake Gyllenhaal that we watched
great.
in Presumed Innocent.
That's a remake of the Harrison
Ford. It was very
Ford.
good. We just didn't like the conclusion of it because it was completely
a lot of people didn't like the
unbelievable.
ending, but it was really tense. It's a tense series.
Okay, and Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, is in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and we haven't dived in yet, but we will. We will. Okay, so back to Eddie Redmayne.
He's incredible.
We are obsessed with Jackal because he is so captivating. And the black woman who plays his pursuer, an MI6 sort of agent, is
great.
Is just astounding. I don't know her name because we don't know her. She's from British television, but she is spectacular.
Yeah,
and the twists and turns are stunning. As we flash back to his background as a sniper for the British Army in Afghanistan, and what happens is mind-blowing. He is mind-blowing. And as much as we love Billy Bob, we talked last week, we don't love the plot and sort of the characterizations of Landman, especially the women. It's almost insulting to me. But we'll root for Billy Bob, but it's going to be difficult.
It's going to be a tough one.
He once won for... Was it the Golden Globe or he won the Emmy for Fargo, right?
Yeah.
And he was up against Cumberbatch, Benedict Cumberbatch, who we loved in
Sherlock Holmes,
right?
Ugh,
okay, we love that.
Great too.
So this is the same kind of clash, sort of a culture clash.
I mean, we have to root for Billy because Billy is Billy.
But Eddie
is really
is just intoxicating as this assassin who doesn't miss a trick. But he's made the mistake of getting married and having a child, which are burdens that appear to be undoing him.
Life
but we
is
haven't
tough
seen
to be an
we don't
assassin.
Want to spoiler alert
but
the
people
2
have to
episodes.
watch it. It's just so good.
Okay, and also the Japanese actor and showman.
Oh, I love him.
I don't know if I can say his name. It's Hiroyuki Sanada. I think I got that right. But he was in Bullet Train, which we loved, and we've started Shogun. It got a little slow for us, but we will.
A lot of people love
finish. But Jackal grabbed me by the lapels and shook me.
I can't wait
from moment one. Even though
I can't wait, but then I don't want
to. You fell asleep in the first
I did fall asleep
episode.
because at night it's hard for me to sleep because I have so much on my brain. But I'll stay up for this one.
Okay. And on my birthday, which was December the 4th, we did venture out to the mall, not far from here, to go to the theaters, see Gladiator 2, because we both love Gladiator 1, even though we both saw it way ahead of knowing each other.
Yes.
And we have a friend named Dr. Farouz who just lives for Russell
Oh
Crowe
my
in
God.
Gladiator. So we thought,
Loves.
well, let's check it out. So we go, and I was entertained. I was mildly amused by it, and I liked it.
I fell asleep in some parts,
She
but
fell asleep. I'm going to give it a 7. I think you gave it a
a
6
lot
on
of
a scale of
blood.
10.
I think it was bloody.
Well, I'm fine with the
I had to
blood.
hide my eyes for a while. It was just too bloody.
Okay. But our biggest culture clash came afterward about Denzel's character, who is nominated for a Golden Globe as
Supporting
supporting
actor in a
role
drama.
male in a motion picture.
Motion
In a
picture, that's
motion
right.
picture. I don't know if it needs to be drama. I think it's
No, a
just any
motion
motion
picture,
picture.
yeah.
Okay. When we walked out, I said he's going to win something for that, but he wins something almost for everything he does.
He's just incredible,
And
but I
his
just didn't.
his character
It's
is,
weird.
I'm not going to say he's a flat out villain, but he is villainous,
Yeah,
right?
he's a
Villainous
villain.
character.
Yeah.
He's pretty villainy in this one.
I just
In
couldn't see
fact,
him in this role in a gladiator world role. To
okay,
me, he's always a bad guy or a cop who goes
okay,
bad. Or
he's
but
almost
Book
too
of Eli
good
was great.
for the movies good because he's Denzel. He
Yeah,
just
he's
takes
just
it over.
incredible.
The camera just sort of, it just can't stay away from him because every scene, he doesn't steal it. He owns every scene
Yeah,
of the movie that he's in, and he is in a whole lot of the
he's
movie.
in a lot.
And the British
Boy.
guy whose name I can't even remember is the gladiator who plays Lucius.
Not Paul Mescal.
Yeah,
Paul Mescal,
is
yeah.
that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Then the other guy. Then the other, my pet peeve for the movie, and
And
she couldn't
Pedro
get this.
Mescal.
Pedro, yeah. Okay. Before our movie, I don't know if this is every movie across the country. One of the two twins who play the emperor and the two gladiators are in street clothes, and they pop up on your screen right before the movie starts, and they say, "We hope you
Yeah,
enjoy
I
the
thought it was
movie."
great.
And I'm like,
I love
I don't want to
seeing
see
that.
you in
No, it's
street clothes
great. I want to
because they're
see them.
wimps,
But
especially the two gladiators.
they're not. Are
They're
you
not
kidding me?
physical. They're not sculpted. They're not in great
So
shape. I'm
what?
not buying them as
But
gladiators.
I
Russell
like to
Crowe
see.
looked like a
Yeah,
gladiator because
but
he's stout and stocky and he was buff for that
I like
first
seeing them
gladiator.
before the movie because then it's nice to see them as actors, and then wow, they became that. But it's nice to see they're in jeans and a t-shirt.
They're wimps.
Oh my God,
I'm not
forget
buying
it.
it. So now I got to go Hollywood. I got to make believe that they could
Well, they
actually
aren't
slit each
really
other's throat.
gladiators. I hate to burst your bubble. They
I know,
don't
but they
really
don't
live
look like gladiators.
they don't go and
I
fight
mean,
lions in a
Keanu Reeves looks
coliseum.
like John Wick to me. He can
Well,
live
that's a
up.
whole different bowl of wax. Keanu Reeves is John Wick,
Okay, and
no matter
like
what.
Atomic Blonde, Charlize, she can do it. She can physically
Yeah, no, she
convince
was
me she
great.
can kick all their
That
asses.
was a
All
good
their
movie.
asses. It
That was
was a
great.
great
That
movie.
was great.
Okay,
But I still
Denzel,
enjoyed
even in his
Gladiator.
60s, he convinces me he can do that because in Equalizer,
Oh,
three
Equalizer was
straight,
great.
he just takes over physically.
Yeah.
He's not in the
No,
greatest
he's
shape of
kick
his life,
ass.
but he
He's
is kick
yeah.
ass in
No,
all
he's
three. But she wanted him to be the hero of
yeah.
Equalizers or Book of Eli or
Yeah. I
whatever.
just didn't.
And I'm like, no, guess what? He was Alonzo Harris. He went Training Day as his character in Gladiator
Well, that's
2.
your favorite, one of your
It's
favorite movies,
well,
Training
it's
Day.
up there. It is way up there. She hasn't
I
even
didn't
watched
see it
it
because
because
it's
it's
too
just too scary,
violent. I don't
bloody.
want to watch.
I will admit to you, it's hard to watch.
I
In
can't
fact,
watch it.
occasionally Hazel hears something she doesn't like, so she's about to go into attack mode. But
Here,
the
Hazel.
point is that even when I'm on the treadmill running and I'm flipping around for something to occupy my brain for an hour,
Yeah.
if I see Training Days on, I can't even watch it again. It's too intense because I won't be able to stay on the
Yeah.
treadmill. I won't be able to keep my feet going forward because I'll get too distracted.
Yeah.
Because that Alonzo Harris character, he is all-time scary. And Denzel won the Academy
I
Award,
know.
as he
And
should
it's
have,
great.
for that.
But
And he's won other supporting actor Academy Awards, but that was his role of roles. And
he's
Antoine
good in
Fuqua,
anything. Yeah.
I always say Fuqua, but they
Yeah.
say it's pronounced Fuqua. But he's just a genius, and that's it's so good I can't watch it a second time because I'm afraid how it will impact me, and I won't be able to quit thinking about it for the next 5
Well,
days.
just like with Rat Dog,
Yeah,
it
like
stays
rat
with you.
dog, it just stays with me. That's how my
Right.
mind works. But again, I did love Denzel in this role, even though it's a weird role for him and he's
Everybody
a
loved
villain.
it. He's
But in
nominated.
the end,
He is nominated.
he's
So.
just the actor of this era.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's just it,
He
right?
is. He is great. But Eddie is really good.
No, Eddie
And
Redmayne
Billy
in
Bob
this,
is
but
really good.
Billy
So.
Bob's really good. But Eddie Redmayne was made to play this
Yeah.
creepy genius assassin.
And it's really
You gotta
good because
check this out.
there's outtakes that he talks
Not
about his
outtakes.
character. Yeah, it's
He
an
explains.
extended.
There's 6 minutes.
Extended.
If you like
series.
this, you should watch the 6 minute.
Yeah.
Because he explains the
Interview.
character and how much work he did to become the character. He speaks different. He speaks fluent German that he had to learn,
Like 6
and
languages
French, and the clothes that he wears because he's so
clothes
meticulous.
the clothes are
He is
incredible.
GQ
It's
cover.
so stylized,
Oh, man.
and he's worked out intensely
Yeah.
to get into shape.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Okay, so I want to publicly apologize as we wind this down to you because you have no choice but to watch almost every Lakers
We're
game.
in the NBA
because
world and football world.
You know, I'm fascinated by LeBron. I always say he's the most interesting man in the history of the NBA because I always tell you, heck, the history of sports. Every LeBron game has a subplot. Something happens. He's just one of those humans who was born in the crossfire. You know, like everything that he does, it creates action reaction.
Well, kind of like you.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't try. It just things happen
neither
around
does
me.
he. I think
Yeah.
it just happens to him.
But there's always something that happens in the game where you're like, where did that come from? And it's a subplot that rages for the next couple of days until they play again. So I watch because he is highly entertaining to me. I think he's highly flawed as a basketball player, but she has become a pro basketball fan.
Well,
It started
I ended
with
up
the
not. I don't because I live in LA, but I am a New Yorker, and I say that every single time. I never cared about the Lakers. I cared about the Knicks and the Nets. I have sweatshirts that say Knicks and Nets.
do.
But until I moved out
she
here,
still
you
loves
have
the
to.
Yankees.
And I still love
And the
any New York
Dodgers
sport.
did her
I
in
don't
the
care.
World
Yankees,
Series. Yep.
Yankees, Mets, Knicks, Nets, Giants, Jets. But the Lakers became part of my world because you can't go anywhere out here. You can't talk to anybody unless they bring up the Lakers and how much they love
close
the Lakers.
between Laker-Dodger interest out here. The Dodgers may eclipse them
Yeah, but
slightly,
Lakers
but
are
because of LeBron, face of franchise, face of league, even as he turns 40 on December 30th,
Yeah.
we're coming up on it.
You
It's
can't get
because
away
of him.
from the Lakers. So
Okay.
I end up watching the Lakers.
All right. So all of a sudden, she has strong opinions about players on the Lakers that shock me, and I don't force you to watch, but
No,
it's like if
I
I'm going to
watch it.
spend
Again,
time with you,
again,
you
I
better,
like it. It's very celebrity
she likes to
oriented. I
watch.
like to see all the celebs.
Yeah.
I like Austin Reeves. I like Dalton Connect. I
Yeah,
like
she does,
Anthony
but she thinks they're
Davis.
like brothers, like
Yeah,
twins.
they're like two of the kind. They're like in Caesar, in
Two
the
white guys. Yep.
they're like in the Gladiator.
But she loves D'Lo because
yeah.
of his hair, right?
Yeah,
It's
he's
a little
adorable.
wacky.
Yeah,
and,
he's adorable.
And she loves unibrow, even though
I like
it doesn't,
AD.
doesn't
No, but
look like he has a unibrow
but he seems to be
anymore as much.
nice. I like his.
And now she's obsessed with this kid who's getting to play more
he's
and more
great.
minutes
I
because
love
Austin
him.
Reeves had been out.
He
Max
is
Christie.
I like him.
Because of what? He looks like he's like 12 years old.
Oh yeah,
right?
he looks like a little boy, but
He
he's
does
so
look like
adorable.
he looks kid-like.
And I do like Rob Pelinka because he is a
she knows
very
Rob
nice
Pelinka.
guy, and I
She's
really
communicated with Rob
like him
Pelinka.
as a
Yeah.
person. So I think
She
you got to
sent
give
her
it up.
book to Rob Pelinka.
Yeah, and his wife is lovely.
Yeah,
So.
and you like Jared Vanderbilt because he's a cool guy.
He
but
never plays.
He
He's
never
always
plays.
in this. I'm like, what's wrong with him today? He never gets
still
out his
hurt.
street clothes.
And LeBron is saying the same thing. Where is Jared Vanderbilt? Because reputationally, he's the best perimeter
do like
defender
him
in
as a
basketball, and he could
player.
really change the way they play. And I don't know. And you like Jackson Hayes, and
Oh,
he's
I
been
love him
out for a
too.
while,
Yeah,
right?
They never play, but they're nice to look at on the sideline.
Okay. But we do clash occasionally. We watched, I think you were with me for most of the game. It was last Friday. I didn't get to watch Sunday because they weirdly played at 4 o'clock out here in the middle of NFL
your
madness.
games, yeah.
And I just I'm watching 3 TVs
Yeah.
at
No, you
once, 2
couldn't
TVs in
fit
my
that one in.
phone or my computer, right? And
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I tried to vaguely keep up with it, but LeBron didn't play.
Yeah.
But
So
he
usually.
played at Atlanta. I don't know, he has a sore foot. I don't know what happened, but it's a game that went overtime. And I told you down the stretch, LeBron turned it over and somehow the ball gets kicked around where he lost the handle on the
I
ball and they
saw
were going to lose the game. And it came right back
I
to him.
know.
And he's like, look what I found. I'll lay it up off the glass. And it tied the game and sent it to overtime.
Yeah.
Then he had another horrendous turnover in overtime. We threw a really, sometimes he just does it. He gets bored, I think, with what's happening with the offense. And he threw a ill-advised, careless cross-court pass that got intercepted and it gets kicked around and winds up being pushed right back to him way out on the limb. And with, I don't know, 3 minutes left in overtime, he made a huge three.
Well, he knows how to play basketball.
Well, he knows
I
how
mean,
to
I
play
wouldn't
basketball.
be
He's just been a really shaky shooter for a man of this
everybody
stature.
has their, days.
Yeah, well, he's got-
That some days he plays better than others.
Okay,
But
I just don't know how you become the all-time leading scorer in the history of professional basketball, and you're such, by your standards, a poor three-point shooter and a poor free throw shooter, and late in games you're even worse because you run from the late game free throw line.
I think he still is a
She
good.
defends him because he's a good guy.
Well, he
right?
is. He's a
And
really
he is
nice
a
guy. And
good
he
guy.
always
I
gives
say
great post game interviews.
He's
He's
great.
never.
He's captivating.
He really, even if they lose, he really
No,
he
he can get a little
pulls it
prickly
together, and he
occasionally, yeah.
has some. I like him. You can't always be that happy when you lose, but he doesn't ever show. He's not throwing things around the locker room, and
No.
he always has a reason why, and he sums
And
it
you
up.
like the I Promise School and all that he
Yeah, I
does
think
for
that he's a
social, racial
wonderful
justice
human
off the court,
being.
and I do
mean,
too. I always
just
say he's a
doing
nice guy.
incredible things, and his kids are really
Yeah, but what I
amazing
try
too.
to tell you, he's such a nice guy. Sometimes he's too nice.
Well, maybe
Like-
that is a
like-
fault, but
Well, it's like sometimes you're not mentally tough enough to just impose your will on people, and he can play bully ball with the
but he
best
has
of them,
lasted a long time
Well,
to
he's
play.
lasted 22
so
years.
that takes some will.
Okay, but you know that I got to know Michael
I
Jordan.
know. I knew.
when
I was going to bring
covered
it
him
up
in
before you
Chicago
brought him
during
up,
the
but
Last
yeah.
Dance season, and I'll be the first to tell you I was around him a good bit. Not the nicest guy. Kind of a cold-blooded killer is what he was.
But
and there were
everybody is
days when
different.
he'd be a complete jerk to everybody, including me. And there are days he could be really nice to me because he has a nice side. But at heart, you can't say, oh, he's a genuinely nice guy.
No, but
because
LeBron
if you
is.
compete with him, he's going to rip your guts out.
I know, but not everybody is cut from the same cloth, and not everybody has the same temperament and personality. But they both are very talented, and that's
Okay.
how I would sum it up.
So you still think LeBron's better than Jordan?
I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, I can't really listen. I watch it all, and the only reason I've watched it all is because of you. Otherwise, I would
She
be
wouldn't be
watching
able to-
Hallmark. I
You'd
don't,
be watching Hallmark. It's
I still
true.
watch Hallmark no matter what.
Okay.
But it's not as though I would
I mean,
choose to just
It's
watch a
never
game.
been the same for her since Doc Celtics back
Oh,
in
no, I
whenever it
love-
was 2012.
Love the Celtics.
Yeah.
Garnett and
Yeah.
Big Baby and Rondo and
You know
Paul
'em all.
Pierce and
who I worked with.
oh my God, I love
at
Paul Pierce.
FS1,
Yeah,
yeah.
the truth.
Yeah, that he was the truth, and the
And-
truth was you love that team more than you're ever going to love.
And I
any
love the
team.
Spurs.
You
But
did
I did
love
love
the old
I did
Spurs.
love the
Tim,
Spurs. I
Tony,
love
Manu.
Tim, Manu. I love Manu. I love Tim. I love Tony Parker.
You
I
love
love
Pop way more
Pop,
than I
yeah.
did.
Those were the days.
Yeah. Well,
Those were the days.
Well, this has been a day for Skip
has been a
versus
day.
Ernestine. We hope that you enjoyed it. Hazel is now fast asleep in my
Hazel's
lap,
bored,
so
so
she's
she's just
bored to tears.
flat out
and You know
now.
how Maltese do have tears because it makes them black.
Yeah, she got black,
And then you get
but-
black down your face. I don't know why God made them
I think
that
she's
way.
really staring at the tissue on the floor because she loves to eat tissues.
But thank you for watching.
Thank you. We
Thank you for
appreciate it.
listening, and we'll see you next week.